Yes, the dragon tribe that has been labeled the Sophia Dragon Tribe would like to come in now because they have an important message that they would like to share to the collective. While you're having this human experience and while you're containing yourself in that human body, and while you're managing the greater versions of yourself from your higher perspective that you can tap into, and your other collectives that you naturally can connect with daily without being even aware of it, we are wondering and questioning if you're using your responsibilities appropriately, if you are maintaining your energy in the most appropriate ways. Are you being the bigger being that is stomping on everyone else to get to what you're wanting? Or are you respecting you are lightly, gently moving across this planet with your purpose to help the collective? And so while you could be a much bigger force to be reckoned with, do you really need to push people around in a way to be able to make your point and your agenda and your love and your mission more clarifying to others? You can go with grace. And while there is truly nothing wrong with having fire in your heart, because that is passion, if you are still holding on to it and not wanting to unpack it, then you're burning yourself and you're burning others around you. And so you are able to balance and maintain that in the most appropriate of ways. Because hurting yourself with not releasing things that no longer serve you is almost a punishment within yourself. And so we're asking you now to focus on the things that do not serve you, as we've always asked you to do. Being part of a dragon tribe is very powerful because you are one of the original souls that were collected and experienced. And they are the guiders and the guardians. And they have seen so much and experienced so much. And they have to be graceful with their approaches because their sheer size and their volume could be so destructive if they were thoughtless and clueless to others, and how others will see their behavior and their reactions to many things. And so, as we say to you, go gracefully across this planet, graceful with your agendas, graceful with your intent. Be aware that you are still the bigger being that is having this experience. Of course, you can experience all the highs and lows that these lives give you and the opportunities that you have. But do you really need to forcibly make your words and your worth speak out? Or can you do it with grace? In both ways are your free will, but one will show that you respect others and yourself, and the other one may not. And so you have free will to be able to choose, and you may want to explore both opportunities and see how that feels for you. Because, as we said, when you hold on to your fire and you don't appreciate how much damage it's doing within you and burning you consistently until you want to deal with it in the most appropriate ways, you have the choice to experience that for as long as you need. But when you remember and when you feel that you are fully in control of your life and your life only, then you will realize this is your responsibility to be removing that is your responsibility, and it always has. Because you were the one that put it there in the first place to be able to experience it and overcome it. This is part of life lessons, life experiences, and life contracts. No one did this to you. So you are able to now see it with a less serious approach. Do not be that victim. Do not have that experience happen to you. All experiences happened for you to be able to grow from and to be able to learn from. So then, when you use your free will next time, your choices may be something different. It may be more gentler and softer for your environment of the people that you are around, maybe gentler and softer for yourself. We are wanting you to be high vibrational, but that doesn't mean we don't want you to look into the dark parts of your emotions and ignore that. We want you to look in those deeper, darker caves of your emotions and pull anything out that is not on fire anymore, but is smoldering away, and be able to pick through those lessons and scratch through those experiences again without getting tricked and stuck back in that trigger, but be able to unpack it. And as you dampen out the embers of those fires, and you'll be able to safely discard them and release them emotionally because they do not burn you as they once did. Because when you can see the experience and the lessons and the purpose of having to go through that, you will be very grateful to be able to know that you will not be repeating those lessons because you've mastered that and experienced that. And sometimes when you don't want to look at the experiences and the lessons for these things in the past, you can't learn from them, even though you've experienced it. So you'll have those repetitive experiences, which can be quite challenging because you can't understand why you have the same situations again and again and again. So you're wanting to be able to really see everything from the bigger perspective, to be able to not let your emotions get triggered back into old reactions that do not serve you. And while we have said this many times, this is very important for you to know that when you're part of any tribe, you are merely one working piece in that tribe. And from even the chief to what is conceived to be the youngest, smallest part or member of that tribe, you all playing a very important role. And while you may not be comfortable with the role or the hand that you have been dealt or the placement and the position of where you are at within your tribe, it is important to remember that where you're at right now has got valuable lessons and experiences like everything. And so you resisting and being upset or frustrated or acting out because you're in a position that you don't think you deserve or there is nothing here for you and you are feeling very frustrated with it. This is a block that you need to twist and be able to see everything has a purpose, everything has a lesson, and everything has experience and expansion for growth. And so while you're having, say, a pity party because you're not the position you want, be able to see it for an opportunity rather than a negative happening to you. Everything in your life is what you have attracted to be able to experience and learn from. And if there is no growth, things get stagnant. And if there is no growth, how can you grow and expand and explore and experience and appreciate and learn from? I mean, these are very basic life lessons and experiences that is forever happening. It's like the law of the universe is constant change because nothing can stay the same. Nothing should stay the same. Everything should be flourishing and growing, and the cycle of life needs to be respected, and all as well as that natural cycle of life is flowing. And as the tides come in and out, and as the seasons change and evolve and wane and change and evolve and wane, this is exactly how you are allowed to accept your lessons and learning and your experiences in life. You want to embrace change. It is exciting because you have an opportunity once again to be able to try a different approach with your free will and be able to explore all that you want to, and maybe stop yourself from repeating those patterns, from repeating and harnessing on those negative attitudes to everything that you're struggling with in your life, and see it as a gift, see it as something you can master. And remember, it's not happening to you, it is happening for you. And when you can honor all the lessons and experiences, then it seems like it is more of a game and a play that life is, rather than you're a victim to something cruel and insidious, because that is a very negative approach, and that is close to living in fear, thinking that things are going to happen to you, and you should be living in fear of what else is going to happen next. And you're so afraid, so afraid, so afraid that you start manifesting the horrible things that you're afraid of. So please remember, when you're focusing on fear, you'll be manifesting it very well. And so we're wanting you again to focus on your mindset, again, focus on supporting yourself to release everything that you're holding on to as limitations and blocks. Any self worth, lack of self worth needs to be reassessed, and really see yourself as a better version of yourself, and love yourself as a person who is here for an experience to be able to enjoy it all. And while there is no good or bad, and there is no perfect and failure, 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 we're wanting to emphasize the word failure, because it truly is nothing that you can fail at unless you do not appreciate the lessons and see that you can change and have free will to be able to approach things differently. And we all know when we have failed at something, we want to either give up or work even harder. And there is nothing wrong with hard work. And there is nothing wrong with giving up on something that doesn't feel right. And so these are all important lessons, to not keep going and banging your hand on a door that will never open for you. Because if you keep doing that, you're wasting your energy and time, and then it is distracting you from something else. Often, when the universe gives you a block where you cannot have access to something or grow from something, it is because you're off your life contract, off your life purpose. And sometimes you are so focused on what your life purpose is and what your life contract is, you must follow through with it. And so there has been many occasions where you have been very interested in something, and then sort of your passion or something else has come and distracted you once again. And it's very important for you to understand that just because something didn't come to fruition, or because you didn't meet your own standards or needs or requirements, doesn't mean that that was a failure. It means it was a lesson and a learning curve for you. And also understanding that the universe is guiding you to do your missions. The universe is guiding you to help you with exactly what you need to do. And so while we allow you to have your free will, we also are honoring your life contracts. And so if your life contract is to be able to go a certain path, we will be monitoring that closely to make sure that you still get to do what you need to be doing as well as what you want to be doing. And so we're always encouraging you and inspiring you to do new things and more things, and not get stagnant, and keep growing when you feel like you have mastered something. And the easiest thing that you can do is master something and then feel like that's it. You never want to grow and expand anymore. And this is what we say is the dangerous with people who are uh, enhancing their skill sets with the spirituality or with anything. You must keep relearning and double checking, triple checking the new information, the advanced information, the evolved information. Once you stay stagnant in anything, in any belief system, as a pond, if there's stagnated water, you do not want to have stagnation water within you. It will not help and inspire you. It will not raise your vibration. It will get old. It will get very stingy, shall we say, and you don't want to have that in your system. You want to be able to feel like the world is still your oyster, where you can still achieve anything you want and explore anything you want, and you will find naturally your life purpose, your life mission, and why you were here. And when you feel like it is so complete in you and it's making you feel like you're in so much joy, we want you to encourage and celebrate and support yourself with that. But just because you've got one step into your life purpose or role doesn't mean that will be it. You will still need to grow and take those steps and move and explore and expand with everything. There is never going to be anything that makes stability make sense. You need to keep expanding with everything. And while you love something so tremendously, you never want it to grow old or expand or go. If we want to use the analogy of a mother with a baby who never wants the baby to start walking and walking away from her and starting to see those other physical challenges of life, when the parents are trying to hold their baby from growing because they're so happy with the baby that needs them. Think about that with in terms of anything that you're still holding and not letting flourish. Is it a friendship? Is it a skill set that you have? Is it a belief system that you have it? You're in control of it. It's all good. You don't want it to expand and explore. And so this is limitations. These are blocks that you're placing on yourself. And just like the beautiful lessons and experiences that baby has, walking and talking and eventually making their own bigger choices and using their own minds and having their own opinions and their own thoughts. This is what good parenting has to accept, is that your baby is not you. Your baby is an extension of you. And while this may be a weird analogy for people who are curious about self growth and empowerment, the titles that we may put on ourselves and the roles that we may put on ourselves and how we feel the pressure of society is making us connect to being those parents and those role models and figures because of what you have experienced as your childhood. Just even the simplest things of how to cook meals, celebrate holidays, travel, drive, walk and run. Some of these things you have been taught by other people, and sometimes they work for you and they are the most easiest and efficient ways. And other times they can be limiting you and not fully going into blossoming your own integrity and creating your own pathway. And so we know that this may seem very strange and random to be talking about daily life in such a minute way, but we say that for you to not check out everything you do and explore everything that you react with, um, this is not part of the problem, but this is something we want you to really profoundly check in with. The things you're doing on the daily basis that may actually no longer be serving you because of assumptions that you should be behaving in a certain way and reacting in a certain way. See what you've locked yourself into because of assumptions of others, and see how that feels when you consider doing something that truly pleases you instead of following the family or the friends or the co-workers and their expectations of you. We're trying to really shake things up and for you to be able to still walk gracefully here and be able to shine your high vibrational essence, But you also need to see that not all of your inner work is about dealing with your traumas and your traumas and your past lives. It can actually be about the smaller day to day routines that you're doing so regularly and in routine. You actually haven't stopped and thought, is this truly serving me? And so it is about really focusing on this life deeply. And while you feel like your routines are fine, they're not impacting me at all, not impacting anyone at all, what on earth could you be referring to? We're saying that just because something doesn't impact you doesn't mean it's not limiting you and isn't keeping you stagnant. And so you can see the full circle of what we were trying to suggest to you. There is no excuses for growth, and there is no excuses to limit yourself because of things that you want to place in your way to expand. And so we want to remind you all that you can be very powerful manifestors if you want to start including things and bringing things into your life. Be grateful for what you want and see it appear. Just remember the fear that you can easily manifest when you start worrying about anything you're worried about, any concerns. The more attention you put onto it, the more it's going to happen, the more it's real it's going to be, and the more it will show up in your life. So, using your free will, do you want to expand and explore and grow, or are you quite happy being stagnant? Because a lot of people who are still happy vibrational beings have some things that are still stagnant in their lives. And so, this is a nice, refreshing reminder for change and to see what small things you can do within your lives now can change into bigger ripples and start flowing freely from that swamp to a beautiful, flourishing waterfall, which is replenished and nurturing and flourishing and growing. And we say this with love.